Reproduction is the only way most of the species in this world, including humans, live on. For that, mating is important. Whether it's for pleasure or sole survival, mating is something almost every species does. However, it doesn't really end the same way for everyone. In this video, we're going to be taking a closer look at some animals that quite literally mate themselves to death. So, let's jump right into it. Praying mantis. When you first hear the name praying mantis, you might think of a very religious insect, but in reality, it's a praying mantis instead. And what does it prey on? Well, their own mate. Before a praying mantis pair mates, they do an elaborate dance to seduce each other. Then, the mating begins. For most animals, that's a quick and easy process, but for a male praying mantis, it's probably the biggest mistake they ever make, probably even their last. To speed up the whole process, the female starts to eat the male alive. This isn't a clean snap of the head type of deal. They slowly pick away at it, one bite at a time, like it's an apple. What's even crazier is that it's not only a fully useless, heartless activity. When the female reaches the male's brain, she finds that there are two, and the second one speeds up the fertilization process and makes it worth her while. So the male praying mantis pretty much dies for their future generations in a slow, agonizing, and painful way. Chameleons. While most of us spend our days zooming through life, Versifer labordi chameleons spend most of their napping inside their eggs. These creatures only live for around 4 months and have the shortest lifespan in all tetrapods worldwide. Why? Well, they are usually fine, up to the point that they decide to mate. That's when they become so aggressive that they'll kill their mate. They'll kill other chameleons trying to get their mate, and females will even try to kill each other just because they're so mad that they want to kill anyone. Once they've mated, the female will go lay eggs, and then, before they hatch, they both die. The eggs hatch on their own, and they go buzz off and live their own very aggressive and short lives. Ant echinus. Has anyone ever told you not stress it? Well, that's the advice the ant echinus should really try to listen to. They really overthink the whole mating thing, so much so that it leads to their untimely death. Well, it's not just regular stress, it's stress and exhaustion. Male ant echinus only live for about a year, and at the end of that year, they mate. Once they do, they go on a full-on mating spree and try to find as many females as they possibly can, moving on from one to the other so fast that they get no time to eat, drink, sleep, or even breathe. These sprees last about 14 hours on average, and all that stress and exhaustion gets them to a point that when they stop, their entire body gives up and they die. Worth it? Maybe, but probably not. Australian redback spiders. There are a lot of animals that die after mating, just because the process itself is either too stressful or extremely violent. However, male Australian redback spiders don't really have a legit reason to die after mating. They straight up offer themselves as a sacrifice. Literally, while they're mating, the males put their stomachs near the female's mouth, asking her to bite away as she wants to. That's because females that do eat their partners end up with more offspring than those that don't. So the males offer themselves up just in case she wants to have a bunch more babies. The only thing is, even if the male doesn't offer themselves up and the female doesn't end up eating them alive, they've got a pretty short lifespan. So they mostly don't end up making it out of the female's web to even approach another. In hindsight, offering themselves up as a sacrifice just makes their death even more dramatic and impactful. Little red colluda. While animals like rabbits will mate for years on end, little red colludas don't really get very lucky, pun intended. These little guys only make it to one mating season. That's because when they mate, the entire process is just so stressful for them that their literal immune system shuts down when they're done. That leads to a super slow death, and all because they decided to go out there and mate until they quite literally dropped. Slender possums. Can you imagine if the one goal in your life was to mate? Well, that's pretty much how slender possums work. These little animals live perfectly normal lives until they're old enough to mate. When they find the right partner and mate, it's a bittersweet moment. They've done what they wanted, but because of it, they start their timer to their own demise. Male slender possums die within a week or two after the mating process, and the females only last a few weeks after she's given birth. That means the babies are born fatherless and lose their mothers fairly early in their lives, leaving them totally vulnerable in the cruel world they're born in. Because of that, their life expectancy is super short anyway, but after they've mated, things get weird. They start losing fur on different places in their bodies, and eventually, a parasite infection takes over and eats away at their organs until they're dead. And the cycle repeats with their offspring over and over again. Dark fishing spiders. Spiders are usually known for killing their mate during the mating process, but not all spiders are like that. Dark fishing spiders actually mate very peacefully, but neither of them are prepared for what will happen seconds after. When the males have successfully fertilized the female, the second their sperm reaches the lady, they just instantly die. No violence, no aggression, just a spider whose blood pressure rose so much during ejaculation that it just couldn't go on anymore and died. The females usually end up eating the male carcasses afterwards, some just to clean up their web, others from the reproductive benefits they get from the consumption. Either way, in years of studies, no researchers have seen a single one of these spiders survive the mating process. They all end up the exact same way. Fascagoli. A lot of animals that die post-mating are of the tiny kind. Their bodies are simply so small that they can't deal with putting so much effort into mating and literally die. But the Fascagoli is quite a large mammal. Yet, the mating process is so tough on their bodies that their immune system ends up taking a massive hit because of it. After they've mated, the exertion and the hyperhormonal charges are so much for their body that they just can't go on, and they die shortly after. A true one-and-done type of situation. And on that crazy note, we'll wrap up today's video. Which one of these crazy animals and their insane mating ways shock you the most? Let us know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this. For the males out there, remember to watch your backs and don't get eaten by your girlfriends. We'll see you in the next one.